If only I had listened to my grandmother earlier, I would have avoided shame, tears, even danger. She was a simple village woman, but her wisdom sharper than a hunter's spear. Her name was Mama Koko. She lived in a tiny mud hut with walls of mud and a roof of grass. But kings, chiefs, even strangers do traveled far to sit at her feet. To me, she was more than a grandmother. She was my compass, my shield, my teacher of life. And every lesson she taught came with a story, a warning, or sometimes a painful punishment. The first lesson was about pride. One market day, I mocked a poor boy. His clothes were torn, his slippers broken. I laughed, and my friends laughed with me. But Mama Koko's eyes saw everything. She called me aside. Her voice was calm, yet sharp. Child, a proud bird may fly high, but it cannot escape the hunter's arrow. I shrugged. I ignored her. Later that week at school, we had a spelling contest. I boasted loudly. I told everyone I would defeat them all. But when my turn came, my lips trembled. The words slipped from my mind, and the entire hall erupted in laughter. I felt the sting of shame. That night, Mama Koko sat beside me. She placed her wrinkled hand on mine and said softly, "Now you see, pride is loud, but failure is louder." Her words pierced my heart, and from that day I began to understand. Humility saves, pride destroys. But my friend, that was only the beginning. For the next lesson she taught me would change how I treated every human being I met. In our village, there was a poor shoemaker. His hut was small. His clothes smelled of leather. His hands always black with dust. My friends and I, we laughed at him. We called him names. We even ran past his workshop, mocking his broken tools. But Mama Koko saw me one day. Her eyes burned like fire, and before I could run, her cane landed on my back. "Foolish child," she said, "never despise anyone. Even a torn mat can still protect you from dust." I held my back and frowned. Her words confused me. How could a poor shoemaker deserve respect? But years later, life showed me. When I finished school, I searched for work. Days passed, weeks passed. No one hired me. I was hopeless. I was hungry. Then one morning, someone called my name. It was the same shoemaker I once mocked. He looked at me kindly and said, "Come, my son, I will give you work. I cannot pay you much, but I can give you something." I was shocked. The poor man I despised became the hand that fed me. And only then I understood Mama Koko's words. Respect is not about wealth. Respect is about humanity. The person you mock today may become the one you need tomorrow. But what no one knew was this: the shoemaker was not as poor as he looked. And that secret would soon teach me the next great lesson. When I was young, I hated waiting. I wanted quick money, fast success, easy riches. One evening, I heard some boys in the village playing a gambling game. They shouted, they laughed, they won coins. My heart burned with desire. I ran home and grabbed my small savings. As I sneaked out, Mama Koko stopped me. Her voice was low, steady. "The goat that runs too fast will miss the green grass." I smiled. I nodded. But inside, I ignored her. I wanted fast grass. At first, luck favored me. I won a little. My friends cheered, my heart danced, but greed whispered in my ear, "Play again, just once more." I obeyed, and in one moment, I lost everything. All my coins vanished, swallowed by the game. I walked home empty-handed, tears burning in my eyes. Mama Koko was waiting. She looked at me, not with anger, but with pity. "You planted seeds before the rain," she said, "and the sun has burned them." I bowed my head, and that night I learned patience feeds, haste starves, but my grandmother was not finished. For the very next lesson, she would take me to the farm at dawn, and what she showed me there, I will never forget. Before the cock crowed, before the sun rose, Mama Koko was already awake. She swept the compound. She fetched water from the stream, and then she carried her hoe to the farm. One morning I groaned, "Grandmother, why wake so early? Why not rest?" She turned to me, her face serious, her voice heavy. "Child, the hand that refuses to work will soon stretch out to beg. Do you want your hands to become beggars?" Her words struck me, but still, I was lazy. Then a terrible drought came. For months, no rain. The earth cracked, crops withered, many families starved, but not us. Why? Because Mama Koko had worked hard. She stored grain, she stored yam. While others begged, we ate. That day I realized work may look like suffering, but in truth, it is protection. Hard work brings harvest, but little did I know my stomach would soon betray me, and from that, my grandmother would teach me her next lesson. One evening, the sweet smell of goat meat filled the air. Mama Koko had cooked a rich pot of soup. The steam rose, the aroma danced through the house. My mouth watered, my stomach growled. When no one was watching, I crept into the kitchen. I lifted the lid of the pot, and I stole 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. I ate until my belly was full, but greed has no limit. So I ate again and again. Soon, my stomach twisted in pain. I rolled on the floor, groaning. Sweat covered my face. Mama Koko rushed in. She saw the pot. She saw my face, and she knew. She shook her head slowly. "The mouth that eats too much will cry tomorrow." And that night, I cried. Her bitter herbs saved me, but her words marked me forever. Greed may give pleasure for a moment, but it always leaves pain in the end. Greed punishes itself, but my grandmother's lessons were not always painful, for the very next one would show me the secret of giving, a secret that changed everything. It was a cold night. The wind howled through the village. Our fire was almost out, and we had only 1 yam left for supper. Then a knock at the door. A stranger stood there. His face was thin. His voice was weak. "Please, I am hungry," I whispered to Mama Koko. "Grandmother, this is all we have. If you give him our yam, what will we eat tomorrow?" But she smiled gently. "My child, when you feed another, heaven prepares a feast for you." She cut the yam and gave it to the stranger. I sat in silence, my stomach empty, my heart confused. That night I went to bed hungry, but the next morning something happened. A hunter appeared at our gate. He carried a heavy basket. Inside was fresh meat, yam, and even honey. He bowed to Mama Koko and said, "Years ago, when I was lost in this village, you gave me food. Today, I return the kindness." My eyes widened. The yam we gave returned 100 times over. That day I learned kindness never dies. It travels, it circles, and it always finds its way back. Kindness always returns. But kindness was not the only weapon of wisdom. The tongue, too, could save or destroy. And that was the next lesson my grandmother burned into my heart. Mama Koko always warned me, your ears will never get you into trouble, but your tongue can start a war. At first, I laughed. I thought words were harmless. After all, they disappear into the air, don't they? But one day, I proved her right. At school, I whispered about my teacher, a small rumor, a careless joke. I thought it was nothing. But whispers are like wind. They travel, they grow, they become storms. Soon, the whole class was repeating my words, and they reached the ears of the teacher himself. His eyes blazed with anger. He punished me before everyone. My pride shattered. My heart sank. That evening, I ran to Mama Koko in tears. She listened quietly, then said, "You poured your words like water on sand, wasted, lost, useless. Next time, my child, let your ears drink more than your tongue spills." Her lesson pierced deeper than the cane. I learned that silence is not weakness, it is power, it is control. Silence is golden, listening is wisdom, but the world outside the classroom was even more dangerous. And my grandmother's next lesson would show me that the wrong friends can bury a life. Walk with goats and you will eat grass. That was Mama Koko's warning, but I was young and I thought I was wiser. In the village, there was a group of boys. They laughed the loudest. They dressed the sharpest. Everyone feared them. I wanted to belong, so I joined them. At first, it was fun. We played, we joked, but soon I noticed something darker. They smoked behind the school. They lied to their parents. They stole from the market. Still, I followed. I told myself, it's nothing serious, but danger was waiting. One night they planned to raid a shop. They pulled me along. My heart beat fast, but I stayed. Before we could act, a whistle blew. Police surrounded us. Chaos erupted. The boys were caught, dragged away in shame. And me, I ran. I ran like my life depended on it. When I reached home trembling, Mama Koko was waiting. Her voice was calm, but her eyes sharp as knives. Did I not tell you? The path you walk with friends can lead either to light or to darkness. I dropped to my knees, and from that day, I chose carefully who walked beside me. The company you keep will either build you or bury you, but life is more than friends. Storms come, sickness comes, and in those times, my grandmother's next lesson became my anchor. Storms came, sickness came, troubles knocked at our door. But Mama Koko, she never shook, she never feared, she always prayed. I remember her words clearly. The bird that trusts the sky will not fall, even when the winds grow wild. At first, I did not understand, but then life tested me. One season, I fell gravely ill. My body grew weak. Doctors shook their heads. Neighbors whispered, "He will not survive." I saw death standing at the edge of my bed, but Mama Koko refused to give up. Night after night, she knelt on the cold floor, her wrinkled hands lifted to heaven, her voice crying out with faith. Slowly, day by day, my strength returned, my eyes opened, my breath grew steady, and I lived. When the village saw it, they called it a miracle. But I knew it was the power of faith. Faith was her shield, her weapon, her secret strength. When strength fails, faith carries you. But my grandmother's final lesson was the greatest of all, a secret richer than gold, a treasure deeper than diamonds, and that lesson was gratitude. Even when we had little, Mama Koko always gave thanks. If we ate only porridge, she smiled and said, "This is a king's feast." I remember one day I complained bitterly. My shoes were torn. I wanted new ones. I grumbled. I pouted. I shouted. Mama Koko looked at me calmly. Her wrinkled face softened, but her words struck like thunder. "Be grateful you have feet to walk, child. Some have none." Her words silenced me. I stared at my worn shoes, and suddenly they felt like blessings. Years later, I understood it even more. People with wealth but no peace. People with riches but no joy. Yet my grandmother, with little, always full of laughter. I realized gratitude is not about what you hold in your hands. It is about what you hold in your heart. A grateful heart is richer than a greedy hand. Now, Mama Koko's heart is empty. Her voice is gone, but her lessons live on. 10 lamps, 10 truths, guiding me through every storm, lifting me whenever I fall. She may not have left gold, she may not have left land, but she left wisdom, greater than diamonds. So remember, my friend, pride destroys, humility saves, respect all, despise none, patience feeds, haste starves, hard work brings harvest, greed destroys itself, kindness always returns, silence is golden, listening is wisdom, the company you keep will build you or bury you. When strength fails, faith carries you. And gratitude is the greatest wealth of all. Which of these lessons touched your heart the most? Tell me in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe so that Mama Koko's wisdom will live on in many more hearts.